The most powerful force on earth is a human soul on fire. You have a deep ache in your soul for something more, to come alive, to let your passion pour from you like an endless well. When your passion comes alive, the magnificence buried deep inside of you is unleashed. Gifts and talents you never realized surface as your life unfolds like poetry. You can do hard things. I can show you how. This is Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, where I teach you how to heal yourself from the inside out. Welcome back to Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching. This is Erin. So I have a special treat. I only do interviews with people I really like. I'm seriously picky. I have 217 episodes, and I may have interviewed 10 people. So wow. I think you're 11. So in the studio, I have the beautiful Diana Hughes. Hello.
Hi.
So I am going to have Diana introduce herself, but before she does, I just want to say that she is someone who I absolutely adore. Mm-hmm. Like, I look at her and, you know, I think there's like a filter for this on Instagram. There's like little hearts around the head. So I absolutely adore her. I've gotten to know her very well through teacher training and having her teach at the studio, and then seeing her open her kind of co-partner studio as well. And I'm so proud of her and so happy to have her on. So Diana, would you tell everybody about yourself? Because I'm sure they're curious.
Okay, well, I am Diana, but I go by Di. Found Erin, probably 12 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at another studio when I was taking hot power yoga. And,
things have changed.
Yes, things have changed. Things have changed quite a bit. So I'll make a long story short. Eventually found yoga, decided that I wanted to do my training, did my training with Erin at Thrive, and the world opened up. And along with some deeply buried things that we're working through. But I recently found my courage. I found the way to let go of my fear, and I am now going to be quitting my job of 22 and a half years and focusing as much as I possibly can on my yoga. And my passion is teaching yin and allowing people to just come to their mat and just be for an hour and hold space for them. And I don't know, that's pretty much it. Yes. And as Erin mentioned, a partner and I, who is also a graduate of Erin's teacher training, opened our own little studio inside of a gym, and that's doing really well. So I get to bring you into more people.
And it's the yoga journey at City Fitness?
Yes, the yoga journey at City Fitness. Yep.
Wonderful.
Downtown Bradenton.
Yes. Yeah. So I have seen Di grow so much in the past 2-3 years. And I have to tell you that I love people that put a lot of effort into self-development. And not just that, but they're willing to go into the deeper part of themselves, even though it might be painful, right?
Yeah. Painful, yeah.
Yes.
That's an understatement, but yes.
But it takes a certain type of courage, and it takes like a wanting to know yourself on that level and kind of working through. So I've seen you change, I've seen you transform, so I know you're doing the work. So maybe you can talk a little bit about your journey there as far as going through some of your darkness. I know, like a bright, shiny topic to start with.
Going through some of my darkness. Okay, so I've suffered a lot of loss in my life. From my mother when I was 12 to my dad when I was 18. Had to let my brother go a few years ago off of life support. Lost a nephew. I mean, all kinds of loss. So I've always had this deep-seated sadness that I just assumed was grief because I have so much grief. And then, lo and behold, in one of the sessions of YTT, Erin took us into a deep meditation for inner child, and through, I don't know, half of it, I guess, I was like, everybody's kind of searching and, communicating with their inner child. And I'm still trying to find mine. I'm like, do I not have one? What is going on? And then all of a sudden I found her curled up in a fetal position in the corner. And all of this horrific pain just coming in waves and waves and waves off of her. And it was the worst intense feeling of pain I have ever felt in my entire life. And I'm like, out of nowhere, excuse me, just started bawling. And I don't cry in front of people. This is something Erin is aware of, is my cry comes when I'm sleeping, because my subconscious starts, or in the shower. So I'm in this room with all of these people, and good times, because I was blindsided by that, because I thought I had already healed the inner child stuff through counseling, but it occurred to me that I dealt with it at an adult level and didn't actually deal with her. So you and your training has helped me dig deep into it's just like a roadblock area that's like deep in my low belly, and identify a way to communicate with her with that, your avatar work. And I figured out that that's deep-seated sadness that I've had my entire life was her. It wasn't, I do have a lot of grief that, blindsides you every once in a while, because it just never goes away. But that pain has started to lessen from that phenomenal breakthrough that I had in the Tennessee retreat with the holotropic breathing exercise, and something released. Big time, something released. I don't know exactly what it was, and Erin says that you might never know, but all I know is I came back from Tennessee transformed into just feeling like I own this world and I can do whatever I want and everything's gonna be okay. I can let go of the bullshit that I've been holding on to, and the fear and the anxiety and the pain and the sadness. I'm not gonna say that I'm 100% cured, because everybody's a constant work in progress, and it's a daily practice. That's, yoga is called a practice for a reason, and it's yoga off the mat as well. And but I'm so much better than I was. And it's so
I see it. I see it in you.
So
like,
great.
I see the sparkle. I see the glow. I'm like, girl, what you doing different? What's going on there? But you seem to have like a freedom and a lightness to you. It's when you love someone so much and you see them trying so hard and they just don't quit, and they keep digging. It's so fucking inspiring. So, just so like in my life, like you very much inspire me.
Oh, thanks.
And I like every new thing that you're doing, like you're doing leading like a yoga into trauma. Is the title? I'm sorry.
It's a yin yoga workshop, but it's basically we'll focus on releasing the trauma that you store in your body from even stubbing your toe. You store trauma.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be like this grandiose, car accident type trauma. It could be anything, and everybody stores it and their body holds on to it in different ways. So I'm going to lead the practice through that to allow people to let that go, and then end it with a kind of a yoga nidra inspired shavasana. And hopefully everybody's going to leave just feeling like, ugh.
I can't. I'm so like, I'm visiting my sister. I haven't seen her in so long, but like you're doing it when I was visiting my sister. You have to run these things by me when you're doing these cool workshops that I want to be part of. But I really hope that you have a huge response.
Well, it's not until November 22nd, and I only have 8 spots left out of 20. So yeah, it's getting a lot. And I bought 3 books, and I'm pouring everything that I have into this because I just believe in it so much.
Yeah, it's I've seen that work with others. I've experienced this work. I'm actually trying to find someone that I can work with for trauma, because I feel like there's certain work that you can do on your own when you're processing trauma, for sure. But I feel like to get to that next level, like I feel like sometimes you need a guru, or you need someone to help take you into the particularly dark spot, because everyone has blind spots. Like you said, yoga is a constant practice. Like it's never, even though my mom would be like, this is my daughter, she's the yoga master. I'm like, Mom, please stop telling people I'm a yoga expert. Like, that's like humiliating. She's like, you're so good, honey. It's fine. You're being humble. I'm like, no, please no. But yes, it's constant practice. And, you do things, put yourself into situations where your body is primed to detox. And when your body's ready and it can handle it, it will release these things like the experience that you had. I've found lately that people have come to me and it's almost like they've been doing their own work or they've been doing work with me, etc. And it's like when they have these big releases, it's like there's a ripe fruit that's like hanging from the branch, like right in front. And all I do is just like go up and I like it's falling off of the stem into my hand. And it's such a wonderful thing to hold space for that. And I'm so happy that you're doing that workshop because of things that we talked about and your experiences, because I guarantee you're going to be one of the best people to lead that because you've gone through it.
Yeah.
When you teach from experience, it's much more powerful. I know that you bought a bunch of books and I'm sure that those will be great.
Yes.
But I think that the best wisdom is going to come from within you.
Thank you.
It's true.
Probably. But I want to be prepared. And the majority of the people that are signed up are in the public safety world, and all of them have some sort of PTSD that they refuse to acknowledge. Yeah. And for me, just getting one of those people on their mat and seeing them and feeling them physically relax and just let things go is so incredibly, I was going to start crying. It's so incredibly fulfilling for me because they have no idea what they're healing. Yeah. They just think they're taking a yoga class because I, come to my class and, support me. And, and they're like, they have no idea that, they're leaving so much shit on that mat. And though some of them, they get it when they're like, I don't even know what happened, but I feel so much better. I'm just like, yes, come back and do that again. Because I kind of like, for me, and as you're aware, you got to come in the back door to get some people because they've just like, they're good and they've got walls up, which you have this gift of getting past barriers that anybody has. You just like see right through it. And you're like, well, there's a wall. What are you talking about? So you just are so incredible in all of your training and your teachings and stuff like that. It's just, I honestly, would not be where I am right now if it weren't for you. I know I had to do the work, but you got me to that point to be brave enough to do the work and to let that shit go. So
let that shit go.
Yeah.
So it's been mutually satisfying to see it, because sometimes people aren't brave enough or they'll throw up walls. I've definitely had experiences where I've coached people and we've touched into some, subconscious stuff that was pretty dark and sticky and scary. And I do my best. I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely, I would say, pretty skilled at helping people navigate and hacking their own subconscious layers. But sometimes they're just not ready. They haven't been doing the behind the scenes work. And so I can pull those things up for people and show it to them. And sometimes they don't want to look,
right?
Because it's painful.
Yeah,
it's painful. It's like the brightest.
Like a bitch, man.
It's like when you look in the sun for too long, you're like, my eyes.
Yeah.
So it's because it's truth, right? It's truth, and it has that same brightness. But I try to create, as I call the Satya Loka, a space of truth within people. But to do that, you have to have safety. So I'm so humbled and honored that you feel that way and that you're going on. Again, the greatest honor. I take so much pride in this that you're going on and you're sharing your gift with others because you're really seeing it now. It's like the blocks, the obstructions, the obstacles have been removed for you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about just because I think it's like a fascinating little detail of you, and it's something that happened recently.
Oh boy.
And that you because of a DNA test that you found out that you're Black.
Yes.
African American.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so the parents that I lost at a really young age, they took all that info with them. But, growing up, my brother and I always looked so much different than my sister that I was raised with and the parents that raised me. And they always said, "Oh, you're Indian, it's American Indian, French, German, all the things." I'm like, okay, because you buy those things when you're a kid. You want to believe the things that you're being told. But I always had questions in the back of my mind. And it was about 3 years ago, maybe even 4 now. My daughter was like, "Hey, these DNA tests are buy one, get one. You want to do it?" I'm like, "Sure,
Why not?"
let's." I said, "But don't be surprised by the results." And she's like, "Okay." So sure enough, hers came back first, and she was 16% African American and West African, whatever the correct term is in the DNA world. And she's like, "What the hell, Mom?" And I'm like, "I told you not to be surprised," So went to my sister, and of course, she's 9 years older. She didn't really want to talk about it too much. And I get it, because it's not her story to tell. But, I am not negating the man that raised me, because the man that raised me was, even now that as I have learned more things, was one of these most incredible humans that existed. And one of the probably only person that was proud of me just because I existed. And his loss was brutal. I suffered from that for years, and I still, every once in a while, say when I talk about him, because I still miss him so much, but I didn't know where I came from. I knew my mother was my mother, but what was the other half of me, and where did that come from? And that was something that I needed to know. And it took patience, I have a lot of patience. That's one of my qualities that I feel strongly about, that I have an infinite amount of patience. And eventually, I connected with who presented as my first cousin, and I thought maybe he could lead me to my father from his uncle. And as he started telling me more of this story, I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're my nephew, not my cousin. He was, didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to be in the middle. I'm like, that's cool. But he gave me enough hints. But so basically, how I figured out who my biological father was is that my parents and him and his wife and daughter were in Okinawa, Japan at the same time. And then they all ended up in New Jersey at the same time. So my assumption, because everybody that could tell me, because unfortunately he's gone too, and it's kind of weird grieving somebody that you've never met. But they, I believe that my dad, the man that raised me, was sent to Vietnam. And while he was gone, my mother and him either reconnected or started an affair that produced 2 children. And I don't know the whys. I don't know, and I may never know unless I get lucky and find a friend that might know, because my father's oldest sibling passed as well, and she would be the one that would have a lot of that information. But for whatever reason, my dad chose to raise 2 children that were not his and give them his name. And I was raised as white, and for 50 years told I was Indian. And it's so funny, because so many people, when I told them the results, are like, "Yeah, we always know that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I did too, but I didn't know for sure." You don't know till you know. So so it's really super cool, because I just connected with another cousin yesterday, day before.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who, she tagged me in a post on Facebook next to my grandmother. I'm like, holy shit, that's where the lower half of my face came from, because I look just like her, from my nose and my cheeks and my mouth, everything. I look just like her. And
that's
it's just
so awesome.
And it's been super cool. And there's a lot. I grew up with like 0 family. I had my mother, my dad, my brother, my sister, and that was it. And now there's, in this group that I created literally yesterday, of just Grams, because my real last name would have been Graham. There's 40 people in there already.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, holy cow.
Family.
There's so much. There's family everywhere,
Oh.
So it's fun, it's fun. It's upsetting on one side, but it's fun on the other side, because it's like, man, again, I'm not negating the childhood that I had and what I grew up in.
Sure, of course.
But there's so many people that I could have
Yeah.
been with, you know, so.
And you want to know yourself, you know,
Yeah.
and of course know different aspects of your family, especially, of course, if you didn't have that
Right.
growing up. I think it would you'd have more of a craving and a wanting for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
You know, it's just now, it's now I'm realizing you don't know you don't know what to miss if you never had it.
Sure.
But now it's like, man, that's what I missed. I missed all of that chaos, you know, but I don't know. We'll
yeah,
see.
family brings a lot of chaos, that's for sure.
When COVID is done, hopefully we'll do a reunion or something that I can connect, because they're all over the country, and it's been cool. I have talked on the phone to several, a couple uncles, and
This is such happy, like I had no idea about this. So this
this
is such happy new news.
Yeah, it's all a lot has. I mean, it's like all of a sudden. All of a sudden, as soon as that block that I had, that I was holding on to in my lower belly, went away in Tennessee, it's like things are just ping, ping, ping. The universe is like, oh, here you go. Finally, it took you long enough, but here's the things.
That is, that's awesome. As you know, I've had that experience as well, and it's so wonderful to see others have it, and it really truly is divine. It's like, yeah, you're like a magnet, but if you're not like pulling in what you want or manifesting,
right,
a lot of times there's some blocks there. And I mean, hey, Di is a perfect example. So any of you naysayers, right?
It's for reals, man.
Yeah,
it is for reals.
Yeah.
Be very specific though when you ask, when you try to manifest. Just gonna throw that out there.
All the cousins. So I wanted to ask also, well, first, I want to know your schedule for teaching so that our audience could know, for those of them that are local. And then I just kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about, because I know you're going to be taking the yoga teacher training 300 and you've taken my 200, and just talk a little bit about that as well. But first, I want to know what your schedule is so everybody can hear it.
Okay, so downtown Bradenton, inside City Fitness, is the yoga journey at City Fitness. I teach Monday and Thursday night at 6:30 yin, and then Tuesday and Friday 5 a.m. a wake up flow, which it'll get there. More people will come to that, but it's fun. I feel so much better the rest of the day by getting up and doing that. And then on Wednesday nights, I'm at Thrive Yoga Fit for my 6:30 yin.
I'll be there tonight.
Which, I love. Teaching yin is just so, I always say that, I'm going to do the things during Shavasana, but I just want to just sit and just feel the energy. Because last Wednesday, I walked into the room and it was like, it's really, really heavy in here, so I'm going to switch things up again a little bit of what I was going to do. And like halfway through the class, I could just feel things starting to get lighter.
The shift.
Yeah, it's just so powerful and so phenomenal. And
that you could feel that you're at that level of teaching where you sense that, I think new teachers, a lot of times they're not tapped into those types of energetics. So
I'm a little ahead of the curve because I've always been tapped into it because I'm empathic. So, so I can feel the vibes coming off of people. I might not identify exactly what it is, but I know something isn't right.
Yeah.
So, but I have the ability to adjust to that, instead of going, nope, this is what I'm doing. I don't care what everybody wants. This is it. I just go with it, because it's not about me. It's about the people that take the time to come to their mat and trust me to lead them in a practice. So I need to make it about them.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So now I would like to ask you about, I guess if there's anybody who is interested in doing the 200 level yoga teacher training with me, just maybe how it impacted you, and then also that you're going to be doing the 300, what you're excited about.
So when I took the yoga, the YTT 200, my only thought was I wanted to learn more about yoga because I finally got it. I took yoga for probably 5-6 years, and Shavasana was the worst. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. And when people say that that's the hardest asana, they are not kidding, because it's very hard to shut off your mind.
Yep.
And I felt like it was a waste of my time. I'm like, all right, I did the thing. I can go now. No,
Nope,
now you just got to lay there.
Yeah.
Do. But then when something finally just like it clicked, and I'm like, oh, now I get it. Well, now I want to know why we do the things and why we do it this way and why we do it that way, and to learn a little bit more about it because I became passionate about yoga. And then we interviewed, and I know one of the things that I said was, I probably don't want to teach because I can't get up in front of people. I do not do public speaking whatsoever. So, but I just want to do it because I've got some things I want to work on. You know, had started a healing process after I lost my brother and then went through a really bad breakup and lost my dog. So I was in a huge healing process that I had to find a different way because I knew that traditional counseling wasn't going to work for me. And I'm like, okay, so teacher training is another step because you explain that there is a lot of, you go deep. I'm like, okay, I'm going to sign up and I'm going to do this. And halfway through the training, I just woke up with this thought process that I've been through so much shit and I'm still standing and still willing to heal and I'm still willing to help everybody else. I have a gift to give back to people. And it probably was your training and the teachings and the way that things were presented between you and your co-teacher, Angela, that showed me that I had the ability to do that. And I remember after our first coaching, after I graduated, your coaching from that first teaching, about, you're great. You create this beautiful space for everybody and everybody's having this wonderful experience, but then you hide from us. And I was like, oof, I guess I got to work on that.
Yeah, I remember it was very sweet. You were up and you were doing the thing and you were being so brave and you may even been shaking and your eyes were closed. It's like, where are you hiding? You can't hide.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was another little thing I had got to learn about myself. So it was, I'm not going to say that I, can get up in front of 1 million people and speak or something like that, but I'm much better than I used to be.
Yes, you are.
It's all empowering. And if it wasn't for training, I know I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I just know I wouldn't. And it all started with that. And it's not easy. I mean, 200 hours is a long time.
It is.
Aside from going deep into the shit and learning stuff about yourself that you never thought you knew, and then connecting with everybody else on that same level, the studying and the knowledge that you impart is like, oh man, there's so much to learn.
It's endless.
Yeah. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. But yeah, it's a great training. And there's so much, and not to mention all the yoga. Yeah. Lots and lots of yoga. Yes. And the 300. So the 300 is my ultimate goal is, my almost ultimate goal is to have my own studio that is a little bit smaller because I want to focus on helping people heal and kind of helping them heal when they don't really realize that they need to. And it's kind of hard to do that in a large room.
Yes,
so I want to, kind of be more centered on maybe 4 or 5 people, and specialize in using yoga to heal trauma. And so in that, I need to learn more in-depth training, and yours has the more anatomy, and then you said you're going to do something a little bit different to where you basically assign us a person and to heal them.
Yes.
Kind of
yoga chikitsa.
Yes,
all the way.
through our training, through the yoga training and things like that.
Through kind of, I can't call it yoga therapy because Yoga Alliance, but using pranayama, yogic techniques, the level 1 life coaching, going to go into more depth. I want you to be able to, at the very least, like coach yourself pretty effectively and maybe use some of that on others to help them to access certain parts of themselves that might not readily be available. So that's definitely, so those things, and the life coaching part, that's what I'm really super excited about. Yeah. So my ultimate lifetime goal is to be a guest teacher, have people invite me in to do workshops. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been keeping that one to myself.
All right. Okay. I love it.
Now you know.
Yeah, I love it. And it's been absolutely wonderful having you on this podcast.
It's been great. It's been super fun. I loved it.
Yeah, I can't believe it's your first time. You did great.
It is.
Yeah. And so for those of you who want to connect with Di, you can connect with her, the yoga journey at City Fitness. Do you have any website or social media that you can tell people to follow?
A Facebook page and my Instagram are both Yogi Di.
Yogi Di.
So Yogidi.
One word.
Yep.
One word. So if you want to connect with Di, that's how you can connect. And again, it's been amazing having her on the podcast. And if you have any questions or anything, you can reach out, Erin at erincoach.com. Again, I am doing a yoga teacher training starting in February of 2021. If you're curious about it, if it haunts you at night, email me. Let's get an interview set up. We'll make sure it's right for you and get it going. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Di.
Thank you.
And have a fantastic week. Namaste.